Humans are living in an age of unprecedented technological growth.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into Optimus?
Yes.
Never before in history has technology advanced at such an exponential rate. It's shaping the way we live, work, and think, and it's only accelerating. If you take a step back and look at how far we've came just in the last few decades, it's absolutely mind-boggling. But as we speed forward, we have to, as humans, ask ourselves, can we handle what's coming? Are we ready to live in a reality where technology is outpacing our ability to comprehend it, let alone control it? Let's start by looking at the rate of technological advancement. In the ancient world, major discoveries and inventions were separated by decades and centuries, if not millennia. The wheel, one of humanity's most transformative inventions, dates back all the way to 3500 BCE. It wasn't until 4,000 years later that Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1440. Revolutionizing communication and knowledge sharing. Fast forward to the 18th and 19th century and the pace starts to accelerate. James Watt invents the steam engine in 1765, which powers the Industrial Revolution. A century later, Thomas Edison invents the light bulb. By the time we hit the 20th century, the timeline between breakthroughs starts to collapse. In 1903, the Wright brothers achieved the first powered flight, and then just 66 years later, man walked on the moon. Now, in the 21st century, groundbreaking technologies like the smartphone, AI, and CRISPR gene editing are all emerging within a span of years, not decades. This accelerating timeline highlights how fast we're progressing humanity, with each advancement building on the momentum of the last. Technology doesn't grow in a linear path, it grows exponentially. To understand what this means, think of doubling. When you double something once, it's twice as big. Twice again, it's 4 times as big. At first, it seems manageable, but by the time you double something 10 or 20 times, the growth becomes astronomical. And this is exactly what's happening with technology. Take Moore's Law as an example. It's an observation that the number of transistors doubles every 2 years on microchips. This is held true since the 1960s and has led to staggering increases in computing power. To put this in perspective, the smartphone that's in your pocket now is millions of times more powerful than the computers that took us to the moon in the 1960s. Millions. And that same principle of exponential growth holds true across the board, from AI to energy systems to even medicine. AI in particular is growing even faster than people realize. In 2016, AlphaGo, an AI invented by DeepMind, defeated a world champion in a classic game of Go, a feat that many experts believed was at least decades away. Just a few years later, AlphaFold solved the problem of protein folding, a scientific challenge that had baffled scientists for decades. AI isn't just evolving, it's leapfrogging over our expectations. And it's doing so in ways that is fundamentally changing industries, from healthcare to transportation to finance to energy. But it's not just AI. Look at energy. For decades, scientists have dreamed of harnessing fusion energy. This is the same exact process that powers the sun, as a clean, virtually limitless energy source. Progress was really slow for a very long time, but recently, we've made leaps forward. In 2022, researchers made a net energy gain with fusion energy for the first time in history. If and when we scale this technology in the next couple of decades, it will revolutionize how we power everything from our cars, homes, and industries. And then there's the crazy frontier of space exploration. Think about this, just a little over 60 years ago, humans were taking their first steps into space. Now, private companies like SpaceX are building rockets to go up to space and then come back into our orbit and be used again. Colonizing Mars is no longer science fiction, it might be on the agenda. Asteroid mining, space tourism, and even lunar bases are all being considered as viable industries. The pace at which we're advancing in space technology is only advancing, and it's advancing rapidly and exponentially. We went from the plane to the space in 60 years, and now in another 60 years we might go from the space to colonizing a planet. Another area experiencing rapid growth is in brain-computer interfaces. A decade ago, the idea of connecting our brain to a computer interface sounded like a sci-fi fiction movie. Today, companies like Neuralink have invented softwares that connect people's brain to allow them to control them with their mind. This computer-mind connection allows people to cure paralysis and even enhance cognitive ability. The possibilities are unimaginable and almost a bit scary, but they are happening in front of us. What's driving this exponential growth rate? It's something called the law of accelerating returns. The idea is simple but profound. As technology improves, it doesn't just create better tools. It also creates the means to create those tools faster. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. For example, the development of computers led to the development of AI, which is now accelerating advances in medicine, engineering, and countless other fields. Each breakthrough lays the foundation for the next in an ongoing, never-ending cycle, going faster and faster. This exponential growth opens the door to endless possibilities, but it's also creating great challenges. Are we as a society ready to handle the advances that we're making? The speed of the technological advancement is outpacing our ability to even understand it. AI, for example, raises a lot of ethical and societal questions. For instance, who is responsible for an autonomous vehicle death? How do we ensure that AI programs are free from bias? And perhaps most importantly, how do we prevent powerful AI systems from being misused by by the wrong people. And these same questions also apply to the other technologies. Fusion energy could help solve the global energy crisis, but it could also create geopolitical tensions across people who can't access that technology. Brain-computer interfaces could help revolutionize medicine and human capabilities, but they also raise concerns about privacy, consent, and the very definition of humanity. Even space exploration, with all its promises, poses questions about ownership, resource allocation, and environmental impacts. Who owns the moon? And what happens if space becomes the next battleground for human conflict and global war? And then the social impact of the rapid technological growth. Every time we invent a transformative technology, it disrupts industries and displaces workers. Automations and AI are already threatening millions of jobs in manufacturing, logistics, and even white-collar jobs. While these technologies also create new jobs, the transition isn't always smooth, and the quantity of jobs with the new technology isn't always the same as it was prior. Retraining workers for the technologies of tomorrow is a massive problem, and many people are being left behind in the process. Can we keep up with the speed of technological change? Or will the gap between those who benefit and those who are left behind continue to grow? Even at an individual level, the pace of technological advancement can feel overwhelming. New devices, platforms, and tools are constantly being invented, and keeping up with them requires constant learning. It's easy to feel like you're being left behind in a world that's moving faster and faster. Tech is supposed to make life easier, but sometimes keeping up with it can make it harder. But despite these challenges, potential for exponential growth is breathtaking. Just think about what is possible in the next 25 years. Imagine a world where fusion energy powers every home and factory. A world where diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's are solved by AI and nanotechnology. A world where humans live and work on Mars, using advanced technology to create sustainable habitats. Imagine a world where brain-computer interfaces allow us to learn a skill instantaneously, communicate telepathically, or experience virtual worlds as if they were real. A world where molecular nanotechnology allows us to build things by atom, creating things that we cannot even conceive today. Imagine a world where space exploration allows us to unlock resources that completely transform the way we live life on Earth. The possibilities are truly endless, but they come with a ton of responsibility. A responsibility to ensure that these technologies are used for the benefit of everyone, not just the lucky few. A responsibility to address the ethical, social, and environmental problems that come with this growth. And a responsibility to build a future that enhances humanity rather than dividing it. The speed of this technological advancing can feel overwhelming, even frightening, but it's also an opportunity to solve some of humanity's greatest issues, to explore new frontiers, and to push the boundaries of what we're capable of. The question isn't just can we keep up with the technology, it's whether we can guide its growth in ways that benefits all of us. Because the future isn't something that just happens to us, it's something we create. And with the pace of technology today, that future is arriving faster than we can imagine. So the real question is, are we ready?